right, so let's talk about React. If you remember yesterday, we learned how to display an image. Yeah, that was the first task, also as part of your conflicts. Today, I would like to display some images, more than one, maybe three. That's interesting because you, as part of task number 2 and 3, you have to deal with multiple images. So that's still some sort of related. I will do the first part very quickly because that's essentially what we did yesterday. So I will display one movie. So as a way to recap, yeah, if you remember what we did yesterday is I went to Google, I searched the movie title and I downloaded it. So I will do that literally in 30 seconds. And actually, because I want to display 3 movies, I'll download them in a row. Yeah, so I will go to my project and I will download them all in a row. So let me just try to find my project. Here you go. I think it's here. Hello, Kodiri. Yeah. So let me just download 3 movies. So Megazord versus Crocosaurus, and then we got Shark Topus. So you know, just 3 movies, right? Save image. And Shark Topus, and then finally one of the best ones, of course, Shark Exorcist. So we find the movie and then we download. Do you know that the company creating these movies contacted me some time ago because I'm spreading the word of these movies, and they invited me. Well, they didn't pay the cost, but they wanted, if I wanted to be one of the extras of these low-cost movies, that I was invited to go there.
I mean, I'm surprised with your shark-movie-related knowledge.
Best plan possible on a rainy Sunday is cheap movie and expensive whiskey. Cool. Jokes aside, I got my 3 movies. Yeah. So do you remember what we need to do to display a movie in React? The 2 steps. Import them, correct? Import Megazord from Megazord.jpg. Be careful, guys, with the extension, all these things. Yeah. Also, import Shark Topus from sharktopus.jpg, and finally import Shark Exorcist from sharkexorcist.jpg. So then finally we display the images: img, src, Megazord. Yep. Let me ignore the alternative message for now.
How did you do that?
Did you see what I did? Or was it just Adam? I got one line of code, yeah? And I want to copy it. Of course, I can select it, Control-C, Command-C, new line. I can do that, copy and paste. Or you can hold, if you got a Mac, Option-Shift-Down, up. If you got a Windows, is something Shift-Down. That's Alt-Shift-Down. Fantastic, thank you, Ian. It's a super quick way to copy a line. Talking about VS Code tricks. There is another one to select all the words, all the matching words in your page. So for instance,
Command V.
say again?
Command V.
Command V. Yes. Look, if I want to replace all the references to Megazord, Command D on Windows and Control D, Command D on Mac, and I believe it's Control D on Windows. Pop. So now, look, pop. Yeah. There are many tricks when talking about VS Code. It goes without saying that I would like to recommend you to search on Google VS Code tricks or things like that. Yeah. Shortcuts, whatever. Because if you go to a job interview and they let you use your laptop. It's a good way to impress the employer. Yeah? Minji's friends, Kaini, she's like a wizard. She knows so many tricks, and it's pretty awesome because there is a lot of respect when you see someone building or running common actions so quickly because he or she found a way to automate so it's definitely worth to have a look. Also, there is a way, so there is an extension. I'll talk about that later. I don't want to give you too many details right now. Yeah? But I'll show you more tricks. I'll show you more tricks in the future. Anyway, I got the 3 movies, Megazord, Sharktopus, and Shark Exorcist. So as usual, let me check if it works. Cool, it didn't work. Yeah? I love to get errors. Failed to compile. Can't resolve sharktopus.jpg. That means that probably I misspelled something, but that's all right. Sharktopus.jpg. Can you see what the problem is?
JPEG.
That's correct, Adam. JPEG. Yeah? That's why I told you the extensions are very important. Yeah? It looks a bit weird. Actually, I forgot to create a div, so let me do it right. You see, I select that, and then come Option, Shift down, or Alt Shift down, boom, and then I can simply change the title. So Shark Topus, half shark, half octopus, and finally Shark Exorcist. So let me see if it works. Megazord versus Crocosaurus, all good. Sharktopus, all good. And Shark Exorcist, fantastic. It's not pixel perfect, but who cares? Yeah, this is not a CSS session. At least content-wise, it works as expected. 3 titles and 3 movies. And now my question is, imagine that we want to release this version, but our UX specialist complains about something. The title of the app is as large as the title of each individual movie. From a UX point of view, that's not great because the users cannot appreciate the hierarchy of the content. So how can you make the movie titles a bit smaller? H2, that's correct. We need to change the movie titles from H1 to H2. But the question is, how many lines of code do I have to update? 3. Why 3? Because you got 3 movies. What happens if we have Netflix and we got 3,000 movies? How many lines of code following this coding approach will we need to update? 3,000. Do you see the problem, right? Doing something as simple as changing a title of a movie from H1 to H2 won't scale if we need to do it for each individual movie. And also it's very error prone because if we got 3,000 movies, we may easily forget movie number 1,500, whatever. Yeah, we can do that, definitely. We can go one by one. Actually, look, with Command D, pum, 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 pum. Yeah, you can do it really quickly. But still, that's error prone. You can easily forget to change any of these lines. Yeah? It works. So first of all, now the titles are a bit smaller. It works, but that's from a scalability point of view, that's bad. So let's introduce the most important feature in React, which is the component. A component is some sort of template that you can reuse. And that's what we want, yeah? You can see the template, the structure. Let me increase the contrast a bit. The structure of the movie is always the same. You got a div with the title and an image. So we want to repeat the same structure, just changing some little details, the title and the picture. So how do we create a React component? There are multiple ways, or at least a couple of ways to create components. Let me show you the most simplistic one. A component is just a function. As you saw yesterday on the JavaScript challenge, a function is a piece of code in JavaScript that you can invoke. It receives some arguments and it returns something. So how do you create a React component? You do something like that. You put the function name. Be careful, guys, when talking about React, your function names are expected to start with capital. Yeah?
Why is that?
That's a convention. That's a convention in React. If you create a function with a capital, React knows that's a special function and it's a UI function. It's just a convention. If you don't do it, it will probably throw an error.
So we should do that uppercase the first letter when we're on this page, the app.js.
No, when you create a React component, it doesn't matter if it's on this file, app.javascript, or if it's on a different file. We'll talk about how to deal with different files when talking about best practices next week. Yeah? For now, to keep things simple, I'm creating all my magic in a single file. And would you agree with me, one day I will have scalability issues because one day that file will be huge. Yeah? But we'll talk about best practices next week. For now, let's keep it simple. So now look, that function can return some HTML. So for instance, hello Ebrima, exclamation mark. Good table tennis yesterday. Yeah? You know, it's just a function that returns some HTML or JSX as we talked about yesterday. So now the question is, will that message be displayed? Yes or no, and why?
I would say no.
Why not?
Because you judge from the second function you have there.
Yep.
There is something missing, parentheses.
Something missing parentheses. I'm not following your banners. You got all
so after return.
Yes, after return, yes.
So what you want to return is wrapped up in a parentheses.
You don't have to wrap it into parentheses. No. That's a good point. It's a good point. When you return something in JavaScript, you got two options. Either return something like that in one line. However, if you want to return a large piece of code, look at the app function. If you want to return a multi-line piece of code, the easiest way is to wrap it with parentheses. Yep. Okay, I got the parentheses. Will the hello Ebrima message?
No.
Fantastic, Ebrima, fantastic. He's right. This is like importing the milk into the fridge. Yeah, you declare it, but you are not consuming it yet. And now look at how beautiful, how sexy the syntax is. To display the movie content, to display the message, this is just an HTML tag. That's it. So now, this is super cool because it's very declarative. React will replace that tag with whatever the function returns. Can I display multiple movies like that? Yeah, of course. Why not? Yeah. So I hope you see my direction or the direction of my actions. I'm trying to encapsulate the complexity into a single function. So let me do something. Let me cut my template, my Megazord versus Crocosaurus, and let me paste it here. Can anybody tell me what the outcome will be now? Correct. Now, look, Megazord once, Megazord twice, Megazord 3 times. So the template, the function works, it displays 3 times, movie, but the content of the function is still wrong because it's hard-coded. When you create a template, the idea is to replace some special variables with Yeah, you know when you get the template, when you sign up into a website, hello Daniel, welcome to this website. Yeah, there's a template. It's a template. When you sign up into Codiri, you receive an email. When you book your place, you receive an email. Well, thank you for booking your place, Adam or Minji or whoever. Yeah, it's a template. But now the question is, how do we customize the template? I don't want to explain Megazord all the time. So to customize the content, we can pass a list of attributes. Look at how cool this is. At the time of invoking the movie, I can pass a custom attribute. Something like that. Title equals Megazord versus Crocosaurus. Title equals Sharktopus. Title equals Shark Exorcist. Will it work now? Why not, prima? Correct. Even though from the main app component perspective, we are sending data to the movie doesn't care. You know when you call a friend and he or she ignores you? So that's the same thing. Yeah? The same thing. So the movie is not listening for any data. So how do we listen for data? Look at the syntax. Here on the movie component, we can pass an argument called props. Props is an object. If you remember yesterday on the challenge, we talked about objects. I can create an object called user, name. So can anybody tell me how can I display the name of the user? User.name, correct. With a dot notation, you can access individual properties of the object. So this props object is props is an object with all the attributes. So we got an attribute called title. So can anybody tell me what do I have to write here? Props.title. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see what happened.
It's not JavaScript like in the H2.
Correct. You know, I'm sure that happened to you at some point. You sign up into a website and you got an email. Hello, $user. And you said, who the hell is $user? It's because they got a template and they were supposed to replace $user with your user ID, sexygirl19 or whatever. Yeah? So that's the same problem. We failed in the process of interpolating, transforming, translating props.title into the actual title of the movie. Why? The curly brackets. You remember yesterday I told you every time you want to access JavaScript inside of HTML, you have to surround it with curly braces. So now, nice, Megazord, Sharktopus, and Shark Exorcist. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yep.
You said so movie props.
Yep.
Props can be a number, can be one or multiple properties.
Well, that's a good question. Now, what's the problem? Is that solution perfect, guys? Why not?
Share the same image.
The same image. That's correct. So let's fix the image. How do we fix the problem with the image? Props.image. Will it work, Ian? Why not?
We need to add an attribute on the...
Correct. Props.title exists because we are passing the property. But what the hell props.image is? That's the same as typing props.Brexit. The same result, literally. Yeah? Prima? Here? Okay. Image equals like that. VS Code, you see, it becomes red. means something is not correct. What's wrong here? Curly brackets. Once again, the same issue. Yeah. This is HTML. However, we want to refer to a JavaScript variable we imported, so we have to surround it with curly bracket. Yeah. So let's do the same thing on the other two, and let's replace Megazord, and then Sark Topius, and finally Sark Exorcist.
So we're using image for semantics, but could you use literally any word?
Fantastic. Can I call that? Look, guys. Pop, pop, pop. Can I call Adam?
Yeah.
Would that work? Yes. You can write whatever you want. You pass a property and then you use it. But if you face similar algorithm in a job interview, what will be your thoughts?
You want it to be semantic.
Correct. From a semantics point of view, you are not helping your colleagues because the reader will take a while to understand why the hell the variable is called Adam. It has nothing to do with Adam, yeah? Even if he created that code. Yeah? So definitely the variables should reflect the content of the variable. Yeah? You can call it image or picture or cover or I don't know. Yeah?
So Ricardo, sorry. So going back to what my question was, so props can be one or multiple properties.
No, props is one object
One object.
holding one or multiple
Okay.
properties.
And you need to call that one or multiple properties within the function. So when you say return,
Yes.
all of the properties that you're going to be using outside of the function need to be called within the function.
I don't understand that.
So when you say h2 props title
Yes.
and then image source props
Yes.
image,
Yes.
every single property has to be called in between that return.
You mean if you can call it here? Well, technically speaking, anywhere in the function,
Anywhere in the function.
yeah, you got access to these properties. Yeah, we will see in the future once we create more advanced components. At some point, we'll create an API. An API means we will get the ID of the movie, and then you'll call the backend to fetch the details. At that time, our scope will go beyond the rendering. You'll have to do some setup into the component, call the backend, get the data, process the data somehow, and then display it. So yes, anywhere, guys, inside of the function, you get access to the props. For instance, I can do console.log hello props. If I do that, and I go back to my web app, if I show DevTools, console.log messages get displayed into the console. See? And I can analyze the content of each image, of each movie component. Yeah? Anything else? No? No? Okay, cool, thank you. So now, after this change, if UX department wants to change the size of the title, they believe still too large, they want to make it slightly smaller, what do we need to do, and how many times, how many lines of code are affected by the change?
Change it once.
Change what, Ian?
Change it once in H2.
Correct. We only change it once. It doesn't matter if we got one movie or 1,000 movies. So our algorithm scales really well. Yeah? That's what we call a React component. And what if now, because we deploy our app to production, we start making a lot of money, traveling, alcohol, all these things, and we want to add a new feature. We want to add the average score of each movie. So if I'm a new customer into the platform, I want to see, I don't know, recommended movies based on my preferences, whatever. Yeah. So how would you add a number with the rating from 0 to 10, for instance, on each movie? How would you do that?
You add it within the div of the function.
Where?
There, after image.
Line number. After image,
Yeah,
here?
12,
Yeah? Tell me.
You can do p, so
Div?
sorry, so, yeah, p,
B?
p.
P?
No. It's, forget the div.
You want a P tag.
Yeah.
What's a P tag?
Paragraph.
It's a paragraph, yeah? Okay. You can use a div if you want as well. Yeah, okay. And then what?
You can do curly braces, prop slot rating,
Prop slot rating.
and then you can update the property within each individual movie title.
So anyone apart from Daniel who clearly understood that, what else do we need to do? Can we add a function inside? You want to add another function inside of the function? If you want yes, the question is why? But let's keep it simple. I mean, I think what Daniel proposed makes a lot of sense because that's super simple. He proposed to create a paragraph with a rating. But how do we pass that data to the component? Emingi?
Do we have to put like where rating, like
Where?
it needs to be called inside like the
Here?
function? No. Like
No. Where? Here?
No, like underneath like the movie.
Underneath the
Oh, no,
movie?
I mean like inside the movie.
Inside movie? So
Yeah.
here?
Like after image.
Yeah? Then what?
You add like you add rating.
Rating equals, and then we can provide a number, for instance, right? So Megazord, that's clearly a masterpiece, so it's 9.6. Then Sarctopius, in case you don't have any plans for the next weekend, 7.8, and then that's not that good, right? 5.4. Cool. Will this work? From a UX point of view, before showing you the result, can you predict any potential?
It's gonna be this way right next to image.
Next to image. Interesting. Interesting. I wasn't thinking about the layout, but that's definitely a very, very good point of view. No, it's not. It's definitely after the image. Do you see any problem? I'm talking about UX now.
Probably right, like rating.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with Panos. 9.6, what? Yeah, let's give a bit of context to the user. Rating column. So how do we do that? Like that?
No, outside of that. What's going to be static?
Correct. Because that's not JavaScript, that's just HTML. Plain text. Rating, column, space. And now, this looks a bit better. Yeah? Cool, so yes, that's the way you can scale your components. Any questions?
Yes. Maybe would you keep that? Ideally, I wouldn't want to keep that in the same file of the app.
No.
Later stage.
We will always have one component per file. That's not correct long term. Yeah? But I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll create a workshop to specifically explain how to distribute our components, not just from a JavaScript point of view, also about CSS. Yeah? We'll talk about the scalability, but that will be in a future session.
Ricardo, sorry, so one component per file.
Yes.
You mean, so one of these functions
Yes.
per GS file?
Correct. Correct. What's the name of this file? Probably you cannot even see it.
App.js,
Correct. App.js will have a single component.
which in this case is movie.
No. App, which is the main component of your app. So then we will create a new file called movie.js that unsurprisingly will hold a single component called movie. Yeah, that's the way we will scale our application, one component per file.
And then what you do then is call on line 20 and beyond the props from the other file.
We'll see that. I don't want to explain that now. Yeah, one thing at a time. We'll do a workshop to explain how to refactor this code to make it more scalable. Anything else?
So like in the movie function, you know how like we have it's like object like key value. Like,
Mhm.
so do you call it like title and image and rating like value? Like when we like specify that in like movie title like
Here?
so like do we call that like class name like that like is it like value or
I'm not following you, Miji. Can you rephrase your question?
I'm having like language barrier issue right now. Okay, so like you know how like in HTML
Yes.
we add like class name. and
Correct.
class
Yeah,
name.
yeah. With that, yeah. Look at the main element. Div class name app. Yeah.
So with that in that like movie,
Yes.
like next to it we added title and like image and rating, right? So would that be like class name or
It is like class name, definitely. I mean, this is just an HTML attribute.
when we refer to that, do we use like class name?
When you refer, so you want to add a class to the movie.
No.
No.
She wants the name of the attributes,
Yeah.
basic attributes. It's
The name of the attribute.
How would you target it, you mean? To add styles?
Yeah.
Yeah, how would you target it basically to add styles to that movie?
Okay, if I want to style my movie
No, I mean,
component.
I know that okay, I remember.
No, actually, really, that's important. You need to be able to ask questions clearly. Because
the name of those attributes.
What's the name of that like?
that's called attribute.
Okay.
Yeah, so that key value, this is an HTML attribute. So how many HTML attributes our movie component has? 3, right, correct. Yeah, that's
So
right.
so to Minji's question, so the function name
Yes,
or the component name,
the component
which in
name,
this case is movie,
correct.
becomes our tag.
Yes, exactly,
And
exactly,
then the props become our attribute.
exactly. Yeah, that's it, brilliant.
Do we target what comes from function movie? I guess.
Do we target what comes from
I mean, would we target like, I don't know, you can add a class to an H3 or image or p tag, and then target that. You don't target the below, like. So you can't can you target movie?
Can you target movie? What do you mean, can you target movie?
Can I go in my CSS?
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, how do we style the movie component? My preferred way, and I will talk about on the scalability workshop, is when you create a new component, I told you, you will have a new file, movie.javascript, with one component called movie. So what will be, look, on the root element of my component, what do you think the class name will be? Movie. Look at how cool this is. File movie.js, not yet, in the future, one component called movie, and the root element of the component has a class named movie. So then I can go to my CSS, and then what? Well, I can do .movie, border. You see? It looks horrible, but it works, yeah? So that's the way your semantics will work. Do you think that in the future we will define these styles in a file called app.css? Where will we do that?
Movie.css.
Correct, absolutely, brilliant. We'll have a movie folder with movie.javascript and movie.css. That's the way we will encapsulate our components. Yeah? But we'll talk about that on the next week. Anything else? I got one last question for you guys. Did you ever notice that vertical line? Do you know what that means?
End of the page.
You don't go over like your code doesn't go over the line.
Correct. That's a very friendly way of telling you if your code goes beyond that line, that on the industry, generally speaking, between 70 and 80 characters, if it goes beyond the line, it's time to refactor your code. Yeah? We should try to avoid horizontal scrolling for readability purposes. So now the question is, it's just about styling, yeah? About code style, because it works perfectly. But from a code style point of view, I find that code a bit stressing. Yeah? I need to scroll right to reach the end of the line. So when you got the problem, I would like to suggest you to keep one attribute per line. Something like that. I think you agree with me, this is much more readable. You see? So now, you know you got a movie. What attributes the movie has? Title, image, and rating. You're creating like a dictionary with key value pairs. If you go to a job interview and you write that, the message you're sending is you're really good orchestrating your code. This is just about the styling. Technically speaking, can I do that? Move everything to the left.
No, you can't. But it's not really readable.
In JavaScript, that's still okay. Still okay. In Python, that wouldn't work. Python is very strict with the indentation, but JavaScript is more flexible. If I go back to the website, it still works. However, as Panos said, that goes against readability. It makes everything more complicated. So, in the long term, you'll have the ability to manually solve the problem. However, before that point, let me show you the last hint of the day. With VS Code, you can automatically solve the problem. If you do right-click anywhere, you don't even have to select anything. Just do right-click anywhere, and now select Format Document, or Option Shift F. You get the shortcut on the right-hand side. Once you click here, boom. Sometimes it goes crazy. Sometimes it doesn't work well. But anyway, if you come across a very weird, a very exotic component from an indentation point of view, it will solve 80–90% of the problems. Yeah? Anything else? No? Thank you very much.